Well, I actually have. I worked there for 3 years. So if you check the history books of Isaca, 1993, 94, 95, I was the Director of Professional Services for Isaca globally. So all the CACS conferences, CISA Review Manual, is that still going today? The CISA Review Manual? Yeah, guess what? I was the editor of that for 3 years as well. So in terms of having something in common with you guys, Isaca is something that we both know, and I still maintain my membership today. So it's good actually to come and talk to another Isaca event. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm a partner in a company called Ascent, which is exhibiting here. We focus in a number of disciplines, and these are them. This is just to give you some insight. Business continuity management, risk management, and information security. So we've got most of the Isaca domains covered there as well. In terms of governance, risk and compliance, we do have a suite of tools that's coming along quite nicely, so you'll see more of that shortly, not in this presentation at all. Our core competencies are listed there as well, and today's agenda. Okay, what are we seeing in business continuity challenges? Organisations are required either through regulation or various stock exchange requirements to have business continuity management. And everyone says yes, they can put up a document and say, I've got a business continuity plan, I've got a second site for my building, I've got a second data centre, I'm done. I've ticked all the boxes. Well, maybe, maybe not. So what I'm going to do is today, I'll take you through some of the challenges that exist for business continuity programs. So don't think for a moment that if you've got a second data centre, a recovery site as a second building, and a document that says BCP that you're done. You may have something, you may not. Really hard to tell. The volume of data, so today's talking about data. Business continuity management is going to generate a lot of data. And we'll look and see where that comes from, and how do you manage that? His Excellency this morning mentioned about turning data into information. That's one of the challenges you'll see in this slide as well. Also at the same time, there are simultaneous requirements of senior management, board members, regulators, and other interested stakeholders. What do they want from your business continuity management program? How are you going to give it to them? And lastly, what do you look for in good BCM software tools? So there is a checklist there, and if you're looking for business continuity management tools, then there's 2 pages and a graphic there that are not Ascent related. They are what I would call good functional characteristics of software tools. So you can take them, and if you're looking for software tools, use them as a guide. Okay, typical challenges in business continuity. Knowing where to start, what to do, and how to do it efficiently and effectively. Knowing what to do. How many times do you see organisations say, let's complete our BCP, business continuity plans, and we'll use a template? How many times I've seen that in the world it's actually staggering. The number of organisations that I see in the world that don't do a business impact analysis before they do the BCP. It's quite staggering. However, when I look at how people do a BCP, or BIA, what I also find is there's a lot of errors in that as well. So yes, we've got our second data centre, we've got our alternate site, we may even have a BCP document, we've got a document that's called the BIA, but what are we really doing? Are we filling in forms, or are we building capability for the organisation? Second challenge, managing disparate sources of data. Spreadsheets. How do most companies do their BIAs today? Use a spreadsheet? Yeah? Why do you use a spreadsheet? Because it's free. It's free. Why do you use Word for your BCP? Because it's free. And there's plenty of templates out there. So, and then what do we do? And then if you look at the structure of a BIA for the spreadsheet, and you look at the Word documents for the templates, and if you're a large organisation, before 2006, I was a practitioner all my life. I was a global head of business continuity management for a little Australian bank called the National Australian Bank. We own, or they own, banks all over the world. Guess how many business continuity managers they had all over the world? Many. And they all had their own spreadsheets, they all had their own Word documents, and they were all correct, weren't they? So they thought. So consistency in what the organisation's doing, very, very tough to do when you're a large organisation, multiple business continuity managers and multiple spreadsheet formats and BCPs. So what have you really got as an organisation? We're starting to build a mess, aren't we? That's what we're starting to do. We're starting to build a mess. And then we need to enable the executive overview of the BCM program, and you can see the rest of them there. There is one point there that goes back to the keynote this morning, aggregating data to create information. What I see in business continuity programs, globally and generally, is a lot of data. I don't see a lot of information. And yet how much do we spend as an organisation building that data? How many hours do you think we put into business continuity as an organisation, across the organisation, doing BIA workshops, BCP workshops, test plans, testing, reporting, discussing it at senior management levels, operational risk management committees, board committees? We would spend a fortune on business continuity. Not talking about software, talking about people's time. And what have we got? Well, let's have a look. Business impact analysis, this is typically what we do, and we end up with a lot of data. And we start the data mess when we start the BIA, and if anyone knows about the business continuity life cycle, the starting point is the BIA. So we build this mess, and we build bigger and bigger spreadsheets, and we end up with this type of situation. This is typically what a business continuity program looks like in any organisation. On the left-hand side, you'll see a workshop, and it's facilitated by maybe the business continuity coordinator within the work area. It might be facilitated by someone from the BC central team within the organisation. And what do? We put all the data into spreadsheets and Word documents, and we end up with this huge pile of paper. And this is the person on the right-hand side, sitting amongst that paper is probably your BC manager or your BC coordinator. Now, this particular slide, this is from a larger bank that's one of our clients, and down the bottom, this hasn't come out that clear, but this is just asking how many, this is a list of how many IT applications or services there are in this one organisation. And then you'll find down the bottom right, there are 1,574 IT applications in this bank. The next slide says how many processes are there that have gone through a business impact analysis activity. And the number at the bottom right is 1,174. So where do we put all this information? So when we're talking about explosion of data, when you start doing the business impact analysis, you are going to get a lot of data. There's no question. The actual activity is designed to generate data. No question at all. So there's nothing wrong with the activity. It's how we actually manage the data that's associated with it. What's the time difference between collecting the data and actually reporting it later to like an operational risk management committee? How consistent is it? One spreadsheet, what's a spreadsheet got that's really, really good? Flexibility. If you don't like the template, you can add a row, add a column, delete this, delete that. So if you were even smart and you used a macro to aggregate data, what would it be? Who knows? Depends on what happened to the spreadsheet. Also, if we're talking about how many IT applications do you have, just as an example. What do you call email? What does one area call it? Email? Yeah, good. What's another area call it? Outlook. What's another? And now, the IT guys are copped to hiding this morning. What would the IT guys call it? Exchange. So you can see what's happening here is that we've got various terms for the same function, business function. And what's going to be in our spreadsheets? So when we start to try and analyse the results of our business impact analysis that say, what's the impact to the organisation should this particular service be disrupted? What are you going to put in? Email, Outlook, Exchange? Because wherever you are, and what you're searching for, the results could well be different. Completeness. What's the nice thing about a spreadsheet or a Word document? If you don't put something in, it doesn't care. So holes in data are going to be everywhere. Usable? Usable by who? Who's going to use this data? It's not just the person who's the BC coordinator. It's not that business area only. Guess who else is going to use it? Crisis management team, regulators, insurance assessors, and trust me, if you've ever been through a major disruption, guess what? This is just a little aside for this particular session. If you ever are unfortunate enough to actually be involved in a real disaster, make sure you get your insurance assessor to your organisation very, very quickly. Because guess what you're going to do in a real disaster? You're going to actually incur lots and lots of additional operating expenses, which you can claim back through insurance. Now, insurance companies like to take your money for premiums. They don't like to pay you, though. So guess what they will say about your management decisions? They were all wrong. Therefore, they owe you nothing. I've been through several major real disasters. The biggest one was in Australia. We lost our bank building for 16 days. And in that bank building, we settled $140 billion worth of transactions every day. The disaster took us out for 16 days. The insurance claim took us for 9 months to settle. And we incurred millions of additional operating expenses. So guess what? Usability, don't forget insurance, real disasters. And reporting. You would be amazed. How long does it take people to actually build the report to go to Operational Risk Committee about what's happening in the organisation on business continuity? Days, if not weeks. Surely we can do this in seconds. So my final comment here is there needs to be a better way. Okay, this is just an example. This is simply a better way. Before we saw there were 1,500 IT services being used by, in total, 1,100 processes. Which particular processes use a particular IT service? And what are the recovery time requirements for that individual IT service? Because disruptions are going to occur on a day-to-day basis. They occur every day. In IT, it's going to occur continuously, and that's not a fault of IT. There will be lots of things that disrupt IT services or any other service. What have you got to do if you're the manager of that area? You've got to be able to go and talk to your internal customers quickly. But who are they? Do you know who uses that particular IT service or that IT resource. And you need to know the answer when? Now. You've got 5 seconds, get the answer out. Will you get the answer out from the pile of papers on the left-hand side? Because what will happen if you don't go as the service manager or the resource manager back to your clients, internal clients, guess what will happen? They will come to you. And will they be happy? No. But how do you know who they are? That desk full of papers on the left-hand side actually has the answers, assuming they're all completed correctly in the first place. But it's the time it takes to go through that pile of papers and actually give a meaningful answer. Do you think the business that's got a 0 recovery time cares? Is that your problem or their problem? It's your problem. And if you're IT. So doing it better means that all your other stakeholders within the organisation get benefits on a day-to-day basis as well. So there has to be a better way. There is a better way. But it will involve, the key to all of this is relational databases. So any area that's trying to use analysis, there are 2 key words or 2 key headings. This is worst times and frequency. Because in an organisation, let's take a treasury area within either a private or a government organisation. There will be a treasury department or a finance department that is involved in settlement of funds. Now, if they're dealing in US dollars, there'll be a time in the day when US dollars are settled. The industry has agreed that there will be a certain time in the day where US dollar settlements occur. Similarly, if you're dealing in other currencies, there will be pound sterling, it could be any other Australian dollars, it could be Canadian dollars, whatever it is, there are set times. What are those times? And is that time now? If you look at your watches now, it's 11:23 in Dubai. You're the crisis management team. Is 11:23 a bad time for us? What occurs in our organisation at 11:23? I want the answer now within 15 seconds. I'm the crisis management team chair. I need to know. I need information. I need it accurately and I need it quickly. I don't want to have to go to a boardroom where all the senior managers talk about what's occurred and then ask the question, what does this mean for us? If I'm asking that question, I'm wasting time. If I'm wasting time, what am I doing as an organisation? I have a major crisis, and what am I doing? I'm analysing the impact. Now? This is a strange time to analyse the impact. I thought we did that under business impact analysis. Don't you call it business impact analysis? Why? Because you analyse the impact on business. Well, give me the results. Now, how would you like to be the BCM manager in that position? I just spent thousands, if not millions of dollars on your programs, and what did I get? Silence when I needed an answer, when I really needed it most. Business continuity, it's another investment. Let's get a return. So, and there is an interface. When you do the business impact analysis, even if you go back and have a look, if you're in audit and you want to audit your business impact analysis methodology in your organisation today, take one takeaway from this presentation. If you're using spreadsheets, look for 2 headers in the spreadsheet. They're just going to be column headers, worst time and frequency. Those are 2 key informational requirements that can come out of your BIA and feed directly to your crisis management team. That will make a huge difference to the decisions that the crisis management team will make and will be required to make now it's 11:25. What if it's 12 o'clock today? Now here's one that will interest all of you as an example. Payroll. When's a bad time for payroll to have a problem? Because you're normally all paid monthly. You're normally paid towards the end of the month. So there's a bad time for that particular process within the organisation. And if it happens at the worst time, how much time have you really got before everybody gets upset because you can't get paid? This is a business impact analysis. It's so simple. Ask the questions. And if you do it in a spreadsheet, put it through spreadsheet columns. There should be two headers there, worst time and frequency. Okay. Also, if we're doing a crisis management, there's a connection point between the business continuity program. We need to disseminate the information to mobile devices. Why? Because most of our executive are not in the building at any one point in time. They're in different parts of the world. And what will they have with them? What do we all have with us? Mobile devices. So how do we get from the piles of paper to the mobile devices? Okay, in terms of checklists for what to look for, and so software tools are the answer, guys. So and what do you look for? Here are some checklists about, I won't go through them, but they're in the presentation, so when you get them, here's some points as to what we consider to be good features within software tools. So if you're looking to compare, and there are products out there that you can compare, we're just a provider, there are plenty more. So have a look. And the key, though, is this slide here. This slide shows the entire life cycle for business continuity management. Make sure that the software tools that you look for take data from the BIA, which is shown there in step 2, takes it through to BCPs in step 3, takes it through to test plans in step 4, and also takes it through to crisis management in step 5. There are tools around that will do that. There aren't a lot, but there are some. But make sure that what you look for is complete coverage of the business continuity life cycle when looking at software tools. Good software tools also will be easy to use. This is a slide from one of ours, and easy on the eye, graphics, icons, easy to use. And in terms of timing, today we've got half an hour, so we're up for time, and we are outside, then you'll see us there. So if you want to come and have a look at some or discuss anything that I've discussed today further, only too happy to chat with you, and I'm here all day as well. So look forward to seeing you later in the day. Thank you very much.